Let's dive into the US-China trade war, but not just the numbers. This is about real people, like Scott Bessent, Trump's Treasury Secretary, and surprisingly, a North Dakota soybean farmer. When China stopped buying US soybeans, Bessent wasn't just making policy, he was losing money on his own farm. He admitted the pain, telling farmers, "I get it, your pain is my pain." Bessent tried to bridge the gap between Washington and the heartland, promising that farmers' voices were heard at the highest levels. He couldn't reveal negotiation secrets, but he hinted at a big deal coming, trying to keep hope alive. His job sell optimism when the market was selling despair. Bessent's story became a symbol, showing how the trade war cut from family farms to the president's cabinet. He promised a light at the end of the tunnel, but for many farmers, that tunnel just kept getting longer and darker. The trade war wasn't just policy, it was personal, and the stakes were painfully real. Bessent's dual role highlighted the impossible choices facing those caught between politics and survival. He embodied the conflict, a top official and a struggling farmer, both fighting for a future that seemed to slip further away each day. The message was clear: no one was immune, not even those in power. For farmers, Bessent's struggle was both a comfort and a warning. If he couldn't escape the fallout, what hope did they have? The trade war's impact was everywhere, from the White House to the wheat fields. And as the days dragged on, hope was in short supply. For many, survival was the only goal left. Why did the trade war hit US farmers so hard? One word: China. For years, American agriculture depended on China, which bought over half of all US soybean exports, worth nearly $13 billion in 2024. This relationship took decades to build. US farmers grew more than Americans could eat, so they relied on exports. China's booming livestock industry needed soybeans, making it a perfect match. Farmers planned their entire businesses around this demand, taking out loans and buying equipment, assuming China would always buy. Then, the trade war hit. China stopped buying, completely. It was like losing your only customer overnight. Suddenly, farmers were stuck with mountains of unsold soybeans, and prices crashed. The lesson was brutal. Putting all your eggs in one basket, especially a Chinese one, left farmers dangerously exposed. The crisis revealed how deeply American farmers are tied to the global economy. When global politics get messy, farmers pay the price first. The trade war exposed a fundamental weakness in US agriculture's foundation. The fallout was immediate and devastating. Farmers learned that self-reliance is a myth in a globalized world. Their livelihoods depended on forces far beyond their control. The loss of China as a customer was a wake-up call, and the consequences rippled through every farm in America. Imagine baking thousands of loaves of bread for your best customer. Then, they vanish. That's what happened to American farmers. The trade war left them with overflowing bins of unsold soybeans and prices in free fall. But the pain didn't stop there. Tariffs made everything more expensive. Tractors, steel, fertilizer. Costs soared just as income disappeared. Farmers like the Tariffs in Minnesota faced impossible choices. Bills to pay, loans to service, but no money coming in. This wasn't just a bad year, it was an existential crisis for family farms. The American dream was turning into a financial trap. The problem was nationwide, from North Dakota to Mississippi. Farmers played by the rules, worked hard, and still lost. Political decisions thousands of miles away put their livelihoods on the brink. They became collateral damage in a war they never started. Options were running out fast. The scale of the crisis was staggering. Generations of work were at risk of being wiped out. The trade war's impact was relentless and unforgiving. For many, survival was no longer guaranteed. Farming is a business of razor-thin margins, even in good times. Farmers can't set their own prices. They take what the market gives. When soybean prices dropped 20%, many farms went deep into the red. Storing unsold crops cost money and risked spoilage. Farmers faced a tough choice: sell at a loss or pay to store and hope for better prices. Big purchases were put on hold. Even repairs became luxuries. Family budgets were slashed to the bone. Stress was constant, debt rising, income shrinking, and no control over any of it. Farm bankruptcies climbed as the crisis deepened. The people who feed the country struggled to feed their own families. A few political decisions had upended hundreds of thousands of lives. Here's the twist. Despite the pain, many farmers stuck with Trump. Why? They saw him as a fighter, finally standing up to China. They believed in the mission, even as they took the hits. Trump called them patriots and promised a better deal if they held on. Many chose to trust him, enduring short-term pain for long-term gain. Rural communities felt seen, not forgotten. But as the trade war dragged on, patience wore thin. Farmers voiced frustration. "I support the president, but I don't know how much longer I can hold on." Their loyalty was tested daily by falling prices and mounting losses. The trade war put their political identity and economic survival in direct conflict. For a while, hope and identity held strong, but every day of low prices widened the cracks in that foundation. With China gone, farmers scrambled to find new buyers for their soybeans. Replacing China overnight? Impossible. They tried Europe, Mexico, Japan, even Egypt and Thailand, but none matched China's demand. Some farmers could ship to other countries or sell to domestic processors, but many were stranded with crops they couldn't move. The longer beans sat in storage, the more money farmers lost. Meanwhile, Brazil and Argentina swooped in, signing long-term deals with China. American farmers weren't just losing sales, they risked losing the market for good. The search for new customers was a desperate uphill battle. Geography determined who could adapt and who was stuck. The clock was ticking, and the competition was fierce. The trade war wasn't just about today's losses, it threatened the future. For many, the fight to find new markets felt hopeless. As farms teetered on the edge, the Trump administration rolled out billions in aid. But farmers didn't want bailouts, they wanted trade. The aid was a lifeline, but it was survival money, not profit. Delays and a government shutdown made things worse. Farmers prided themselves on independence. Government checks felt like a last resort. Agricultural groups pleaded, "We want trade, not aid." No subsidy could replace the stability of open markets. The administration tried to fix a problem it created, but farmers just wanted the trade war to end. The aid was a bandage, the wound kept bleeding. Farmers wanted to compete, not depend on handouts. Their plea was simple: let us sell our crops. The numbers were bad, but the human cost was worse. Stress and anxiety soared as farmers watched their life's work unravel. Mental health care was scarce and asking for help was hard. Suicide rates became a grave concern. For many, farming was identity, not just a job. Losing the farm meant losing themselves. The future was uncertain. Would China ever return as a customer? The crisis rippled through entire communities, threatening local businesses and a way of life. It wasn't just one bad year, it was a threat to rural America's survival. The scars of the trade war could last for generations. Amid the darkness, hope flickered. Officials like Besant promised progress in negotiations with China. Farmers clung to the prospect of a breakthrough, a deal that could save their farms. The promise of a Trump-Xi summit was a lifeline. A resolution would mean recovery, a chance to sell crops and plan for the future. But scars remained, and trust was shaken. Farmers waited, hopeful but wary, for politicians to deliver. Their future, and the future of American agriculture, hung in the balance.